Hey everybody, Shaun McInnes here along with Ted Price from Insomniac Games. We're checking out a little bit of new content from Sunset Overdrive. Ted, give us a little bit of context here. What's going on?
So we're playing Night Defense, which is a part of Chaos Squad in the game. This is our multiplayer mode, and Night Defense is the culmination of Chaos Squad. In the game, players get together with 7 of their friends and begin playing through missions in the open world. These missions are randomized, and as you're playing through them, you get to vote as a team on what you're going to do next. And each of these missions offer something different, whether it's combat, traversal challenges, even scavenger hunts in the game. But at the very end of your missions, you end up in Night Defense. And in Night Defense, you're defending vats of overcharge against marauding enemies. And you've got to work together to try to keep the OD'd from overrunning this area.
So how does the core action compare with the single player? Because obviously what we've seen of Sunset Overdrive suggests a game that's very freeform and open-ended, a lot of crazy chaotic weapons. How does that transition over here?
It translates perfectly, I guess. I mean, anything you earn in campaign comes right over into your multiplayer. Anything you win or earn in multiplayer goes back to campaign. So this is basically a seamless experience. One of the great things about Chaos Squad, though, is at the end of Night Defense, if you're successful, you actually see a bunch of slot machine type spinners where you can earn new weapons, you can earn new vanity, you can earn new amps, which are the power-ups in our game, crafted power-ups, and you can earn cash, and a bunch of other things. Those you can also bring over into the campaign.
How is this layered into the overall game? Is this something that's available from the beginning? Is it something that you kind of have to progress into once you come to grips with the rest of the game?
There are photo booths throughout the single-player campaign that you can step into and begin a Chaos Squad mission or round. And you never have to leave to go to a lobby, which is pretty nice.
Okay, cool. So let's narrate a little bit of how James is doing right now.
Well, what James has just done is lay down a trap. So one of the aspects of Night Defense that's important is that you get access to traps that you have earned in the single-player campaign. You can use those traps to help delay the swarms of OD'd, overcharged delirium drinkers, from taking your overcharge. There are a whole variety. They're like of traps. There's one of our flame traps right there. James trunked on it, and it creates these giant gouts of flame which will shoot the OD'd up into the air. You probably saw earlier on one of our machete traps. This does what it looks like it does, slices enemies into bits. We've got spring traps. We've got a whole lot of other rocket traps, and that's one of my favorite right there. You saw this sort of pop-up Jack-in-the-Box rocket trap. Super effective. But James is also getting points whenever his traps take out enemies. At the same time, he and his buddies have to work together to try to hold off these OD'd who are making it through the barriers over here. Now, they're in their second round of this Night Defense, and what we're seeing here is the blowers. These are OD'd who shoot pus. They are OD'd who mutated around leaf blowers, and they're shooting this organically created pus from inside their bodies, and it's dangerous, of course. But now we've got more swarms of base OD coming in. One of the things about the OD'd is if they drink too much overcharge, they turn into poppers, who are even faster and a lot more dangerous in terms of the area of effect that they have when they blow up. So they're doing pretty well. They've got 10 seconds until this wave ends, and then the chaos really begins. Now, one thing that James is doing that's important is he's grinding. Throughout this game, you can grind, bounce, vault, somersault throughout this giant city. And one of the benefits of grinding and staying above the fray is that you're a little bit safer. Also gives you a much better vantage point on the enemies. But the weapons are designed to be used while moving quickly and using this hyper-agility in the world. Okay, so now we have our final wave. We're probably going to start to see some Herkers. These are some of our larger, there's one right there, some of our larger enemies. If James leaves them alone, he will eventually break through the barriers and start to make a path for the smaller OD'd. What he can also do is put OD'd on his shoulders and throw them into the base over the barriers. Also, what James is doing is he's cycling through a wide variety of weapons in the game. He just had the TNT, which is one of my favorites. Now he's using the propane launcher, which is a propane tank attached to a gas canister fired at high velocity. And now he's got AK, which is probably our most standard weapon in the game. The rest of the weapons are all really, really different. But what makes even a standard weapon like the AK-40, AKFU not standard is that you can attach amps to them. Amps in this game are crafted power-ups and there are a lot of them. You can attach them to your weapons, to your hero as well. For example, he's got a health amp, which will activate whenever he slams the ground. But amps become active when you build up style. And if you notice in the top right-hand side of the screen, there is a style meter. He's at style level 1, and at this point, it's just his melee amps that are active. But as he starts going to style level 2, his weapon amps become active. Style level 3, he's going to be able to begin to trigger some epic amps. Okay, it looks like he's got a Herker in the base over here to the right. You better take him out because that Herker's going to break down that barrier, and all of a sudden, there's another channel into the overcharge. And look, he's got it. Okay, the Herker's got some OD'd on top of him now. If James lets up, he'll start throwing the guys into the base. But you know what? Herkers are a big target, so when everybody sees them, they start firing at them.
In a scenario like this, are there any systems in place to actively encourage teamwork, or is it more just about that simple, pure reward of staying alive?
Well, first of all, if somebody dies, you start to lose overcharge, and that's a big penalty for the team. And if you lose all your overcharge, it's a fail. So you definitely have to work together if you want to earn those great rewards at the end of the round. But earlier in some of the missions that you're going on in the open world together, previous to Night Defense, there are many, many missions that require cooperative play. But at the end here, what you'll see is a leaderboard as well. So we also have competitive elements in the cooperative mode, so competitive essentially. You also see these fireworks going off. That's, I think, the result of the dragon pistol that James is firing, or one of his teammates is firing. Actually, James has the vinyl launcher right there, which fires records. And when you upgrade that gun, it starts firing gold records, which I think is really cool.
It's one of those games where there's always so much going on in the screen. How do you keep it manageable for when you have so many players?
Well, we actually train the players in terms of how to handle this, and it helps when you are beginning the campaign. We teach you how to grind, we teach you how to bounce, we teach you how to make it through the world with agility, and we teach you what style's all about. We teach you what crafting amps entails, we teach you about the weapons, and then when you are jumping into Chaos Squad for the first time, we don't start you at Night Defense. We start you with a mission that may be a little bit easier to handle, but then you build up your skills, and eventually you can take on something like Night Defense.
It seems like they're still doing pretty well, right?
What's that?
They're still doing pretty well?
Great, they got 37 seconds left. They've kept their overcharge intact. This is a group of, I'd say, pretty darn good players.
I think James is our ringer here.
James is rocking it. James is keeping an eye on the Herkers. Even though, well, the Herker just went right past him. The Herkers are actually susceptible to fire. So if you use the flaming compensator, which is this flaming shotgun, it does a lot more damage than the other weapons. And that's important too. You got to know what the enemy's weaknesses are to use your weapons strategically. But then you see what's going on. We got our overcharged bats are under attack. Now you get more points actually if you defend them. If you're defending the overcharged bats, so more points for more kills. But they've only got, looks like they won actually. They had no more seconds, and James finishes first. So you're right, he's a ringer. 17,000 points, he kicks my ass when it comes to score.
All right, Ted, thanks a lot for your time. We really appreciate it. Can you go ahead and remind folks out there when Sunset Overdrive is coming out?
Sunset Overdrive is releasing October 28th exclusively on Xbox One.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.